The fly in my vise is kind of a special one to me because it was probably one of the first flies I ever tied in my tying life here. Um, I was in my early 20s and freshly married, and I developed an interest for fly tying. And I had looked at a book by Jack Dennis, and it was his Western Fly Tying Manual for Trout, Volume 1. And I can remember my mom, I don't know if my wife told her about it or what, but my mom on my birthday gave me this book that she had gotten a hold of Jack Dennis in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, and asked if she could buy one of these books from him, and he sent her an autographed edition of it. And this is one of the flies that was in that book. It's called the Tellico. As you can see, it doesn't take very many materials. It takes some peacock herl, some ultra chenille, of course, in this case, a number 10 wet fly hook, and some wet fly hackle or Hans hackle. And I'm using number 70 denier thread, and as I already said, a number 10 wet hook. So as you can see, I have wrapped my thread, and I left myself plenty of space towards the eye of the hook so I don't crowd my eye when I'm finishing this. And I've wrapped this down to the bend of the hook. Now I'm going to tie in my peacock herl, and I'm just going to set it on top of my hook and then make loose wraps up towards the front and tie that in. My next step is I'm going to take the whatever color chenille you want to use. This, by the way, is called a Fat Telico. The original Tellico was tied with floss, so it had a much slender body to it. But I've tied this in green, yellow, white, whatever you want to tie it in. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to wrap this in tight wraps up the shank of the hook. Just like that. And then I'm going to tie it off. And snip that chenille off. At this point, it's always a good idea to put a half hitch in it also. So in case your thread breaks, your whole fly doesn't go kaput. Now choose one of the peacock curls that you have tied in and follow the wraps of your chenille. And then tie that off. And snip your peacock off. Peacock curl. And again, a good idea to put a half hitch in it or whip finish it. The nice thing about this fly is if you broke that peacock curl, wrapping it up, you have plenty more left behind here that you can use to replace it. Now you're going to take whatever remaining peacock you have back there and you're going to pull it over I got one that wants to kind of separate here. Pull it over your fly, the back of it, and then tie it in over the top, just like that. Now we're ready for the hackle, and we're going to tie this in so it's dull side down. And then I'm going to take my fingers and I'm going to wet it and pull all of those barbels so they're going the same direction. Like that. And then just I'm going to take my hackle pliers here. Been having trouble with my hack pliers. I don't want to grip anymore. And then I'm going to wrap this hackle on and kind of smooth it backwards as I'm wrapping. And then tie this off. And then pull whatever you have backwards as you're forming your head. Just like that. After forming the head, I'm going to whip finish it. And I found with the rotary vise, it's easier to put a whip finish on it with the fly setting sideways because the thread doesn't have the tendency to pull off the top of the hook. This fly is equally good for trout as your panfish, and it's a great fly to have in your fly box. Thank you. If you enjoyed this, please give me a like, and I'll see you next time.